Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Talks with Tanya. Hey, welcome. Come on in. Come on in. Let me know that you are here. Let me know that you are here. Put a comment in there. Let me know where you are joining me from. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Talks with Tanya. I really appreciate you joining me this evening. Um, we have another important topic. Hey, Christina. Hey, girl. Hey. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for sharing. See, I love my audience. They come in and they already know what to do. Tell the people about it. Yes. So come on in the room. Come on in the room. Invite, invite, invite. All right. Your friends and foes. Because you never know who might need a word. And I'm going to tell you on this particular topic, uh, in the state that the world is in, this is a very important topic. So come on in. Welcome to Talks with Tanya. Thank you for tuning in. Take a moment. Let's just take a moment and breathe and unwind. I don't know about anybody else. I had a full day today. I had a couple of deadlines that I needed to meet, and this came upon me, but I'm so looking forward to it. So, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Tanya Bean, and I am the host of your most liked digital news, information, and talk show, Talks with Tanya, where we talk about what's on your mind. We interview guests of excellence, and I get to share my view. I say this every week that there's a story behind it, and I'm going to tell that story. You will find me here on Talks with Tanya, right here on Facebook, Talks with Tanya. You will find me on my personal page, Tanya Nirka Bain, and also on YouTube under Tanya Inspires. And we also broadcast as a podcast. See, I'm over the waves, getting the news out there on Talks with Tanya, the podcast. So make sure you share, stay connected with Talks with Tanya on Facebook. All right. And if you are out there on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe and you give me a thumbs up, please, and let me know that you like me and the information that I'm sharing. So let's get right into it. So, over the past several weeks, on what uh, we've been on what I will call a heart journey, right? I've been sharing some amazing expert guests, and we've been teaching and preaching, yes, highlighting, celebrating, exposing, hurting, healing, sharing the experiences that we have had as it relates to our heart. And it was in all kinds of ways, and I was sharing with our guest today that the shows that we're having is like having a personal, almost a personal coaching sessions for me, because it's a renewal. It's a renewal. See, renew. um, Part of my journey for me right now. And I'm really so very grateful for those of you who have joined me and have given me your feedback and comments about how it really has made a difference for you as well. So I was searching for my quote for the day today, and it's from Oprah, and love Oprah. Create, she says, create the highest, grandest vision possible for your life because you become what you believe. And when I first connected with Ericka, when we were just texting briefly about the theme and how things were going to roll out, we were talking about she shared an affirmation, and since last week I've been declaring this affirmation, and it an affirmative mindset says money flows to me easily because I am a money magnet and I attract money. All right, so we're starting from there. And I'm the kind of person that's about manifestation. It's something that I live, that I experience, and I truly believe in it. But I needed to remind myself that manifesting is about a couple of things, okay? It's about setting the intention. So, in hearing that affirmation from our guest, Ericka, it was like, yeah, this is a great way for me to transition into, this week's message. And so you set the intention and then follow your soul guidance on the actions you need to take. Um, Manifestation is not typically you just sitting in a room and thinking about what's going to happen and saying it and then it appears. Typically, because I do believe and I have experience where that has happened, but not typically. The possibilities begin to manifest after you set your intention consistently and consistently take the actions that you are meant to take. So I'm really excited to bring on this week's guest, Ericka Neville, the money coach, and I'm going to bring her right up here. Welcome, Ericka. Welcome to Talks with Tanya.
Thank you so much, Tanya. I am so excited to be here with you again. It's great to be here.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I have a friend that says, he said it's good to see you, and he always says, and it's good to be seen.
Absolutely.
I want that manifestation. So we're going to keep talking about that. But
Yes.
Ericka, why don't you just I wanted to point out like how things happen. It's probably been about what 4 6 weeks since we connected on another platform. Promote her,
Yes.
promote her group, and I
Mhm.
sent you a message, and I was like, "Ooh, I need to have you on the show."
Yes.
And as always, you're gracious in sticking to what I'm going to call your ministry, if you
Yes.
don't mind, okay? Because you've been consistent about that. And yes, it's because I heard it was National Insurance Month. And I thought,
Yes.
okay, that would be good. But we want to make sure that we talk about that just as one of the elements,
Hmm.
all right, of Money Matters. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're going to share with us today.
All right. So again, thank you so much, Tanya, for having me. And yes, I just love talks with Tanya. I think we actually met each other probably a little over a year, maybe going on 2 years now.
Yes,
So
just
you just never
about.
know where relationships will lead you. So yes, I am Ericka Neville, the money coach. I have been in financial education for over 20 years, and I have been a licensed advisor and coach for almost 6 years now. And what got me into the financial services industry is a little over 20 years ago when my son's father passed away. We didn't have life insurance, and I ended up filing bankruptcy because of it. And a couple years into the bankruptcy, I said to myself, how did I go from having A1 credit to having to file for bankruptcy? And it was because of the decisions that his father and I made. I said yes to something that I wanted to say no to. And I ended up paying for it through my credit and through the finances during that time period. So just going back to that time period, I said, I'm quite sure I'm not the only woman who's made this decision based on love. When you wanted to say no, but you said yes. And so I just started speaking to women in particular in regards to number one, having life insurance, especially when you have minor children. My son was 6 at the time. Two, having a will. It is so important to have your wishes written down. And three, having self confidence when it comes to your relationships. And that is how I got started. And so today I am just all about financial education, getting the word out, and then just actually helping to implement plans that are best for families, especially families with young children.
Yes. And while we're on that topic, last thing you said was young children.
Mhm.
I think it's so important for our guests to uh, think about ways and implement ways to educate their children, their young people about finances. Can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Sometimes what I come across is that we think that our children are too young to learn about money, to learn about how it works. Now, when my son was younger, I included him in the table when I was paying my bills, taking care of things, so that he knew, I just wasn't whipping out a credit card to pay for things. Mommy has bills to pay. I talked about money, income. I talked about expenses, things that I had to pay, when I could buy stuff for him. He had a chores that he did around the house, and I know that could work both ways. Some parents choose not to give money for chores because it's just part of what you do as a family, and then others, like myself, decided to give chores and put a specific amount to the chore so that the kids can have some pocket change. So just one, know kids are very curious about money. If you don't teach them about money while they're young, it's going to show up later on in life with most likely poor spending habits, no savings, and just kind of, as the kids say today, YOLO, you only live once. And I say, no, you only die once. You live every day until you die. So, you know, you want to make sure, that we're educating our children, especially when it comes to finances, because it's something that they don't teach in school, and it's something that we use every single day. Like over when the pandemic first hit, for instance, back in, I want to say March or April of 2020, and everybody, we weren't sure what was going on. One of the things that we decided to do at my office was to give a lunch and learn with coach. And so what we did for about 2 weeks is that we came on every day at noontime, teaching children about finances. And it was really to give the parents a little break, so they can have some time to gather their thoughts. And the kids absolutely loved it. It was for kids 11 to 18. We did have a 10-year-old in there, but the kids absolutely loved it. We talked about saving, investing, giving, having a business, paying taxes on the business, how to get started on a business. So we talked about all aspects of, earning money, saving money, spending money, investing money. And like I said, the kids would tell their parents, they were so excited when they saw them. Guess what we learned today? And so don't think that it's ever too much over your child's head to teach them about finances, because it starts when they're young.
That is such a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a good idea. Now, I remember my dad taking me to the bank and opening a bank account. And at the time, you would have a passbook, a book.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like a passport. That's why they call it a passbook. Oh, like 60 years later, it connects. But and anytime that we got money for whatever gifts, birthday, whatever it might be, we were for sure we would walk to the bank,
Mm-hmm.
okay, And I'll tell you, I remember the name of the bank. We would walk, I'm from New York City, and we would walk to 125th Street.
Mm.
Okay. And we would go to the bank there. I'm not going to mention the name of the bank because
Uh-huh.
it's actually still around.
Mhm.
And hey, imagine that, like 60 some years later, but banks, they have the money, so many of them are still around. But just setting up that process, for our children, and that's such a great legacy to leave.
Yes.
Such a great legacy to leave. Now, you mentioned three very important things, and the first was life insurance. Can
Yes.
you just school us a little bit about the importance of having some life insurance?
Yes. I certainly will. And just want to go back to what you said about your dad taking you to the bank. You're walking up to 125th Street. Just the look on your face as you were talking about it, and the sound of your voice, is that impact of, is not just um, going to the bank, but it's spending time with your dad, right?
Yeah.
And the impact that it has on you 60 years later. And that's how it is when we spend time with our children doing things like that. So I just love that story there. I had to
Thank
go back to that. I could just imagine a little
you.
Tanya walking, holding her dad's hand, going to the bank, and those memories. Yeah. But
Yeah.
definitely when it comes to life insurance, it can change your life.
Mhm.
For myself personally, I have in the past year lost my mother and my brother.
Oh, I'm so
And
sorry.
so prior to my mother passing away, first when I got into the business about almost 6 years ago, they say talk to your family and friends first. And so I had no problem talking to my family and friends, because what I did, I said, there's no way I can't talk to my family and friends and just let them know what it is that I do. So I had the difficult conversation with my parents, right? Because you're like, my parents don't want to talk to me about money. But I had that conversation with them. And at that time, I found out, do you have life insurance? So they had life insurance. They had the beneficiaries updated on there. They knew where the documents were. We ended up finding out, I had my brother and my sister, what their wishes were, for my father, what his wishes are. And so having that conversation with your parents, and we have to get over, that's my parents, I don't want to talk to them about it, because it is inevitable. Nobody's getting out of here alive, right? So it's going to happen one day, and it's best to have the conversation beforehand. When my mother passed away, it was such a relief knowing where the documents were. We weren't scrambling around trying to figure out, hey, did mom have life insurance? Where is it? Get your hands on it. It was time to grieve for the loss of my mother. We just went to the box that was in the closet, got the documents, made the phone calls. Easy peasy. We didn't have to worry about funeral expenses. We didn't have to worry about coming out of pocket for anything. So just having that life insurance and having a conversation meant so much to my family at that time. Now, fast forward, my brother, and at the time, my parents, they didn't need a new life insurance because they already had it. Fast forward to my brother turned 55 in January. He had two grandchildren in January. So I'm a great aunt now. So happy for my little kiddos. And so he turned 55, and I said, hey, bro, let's sit down, have another conversation in regards to your grandchildren. What are some things that you're thinking about for them? What is it that you want to do? And so we had that conversation, and out of that conversation, took another look at his finances. So we were able to pay off his outstanding debt, and we were able to increase his life insurance because he wanted life insurance for his grandchildren specifically. Now, at the time, I joked with him and I said, when you're old, and you pass away, your grandkids, your name, your picture's going to be above the mantelpiece, and they're going to say, my pop did this. Fast forward less than 5 months later, my brother passed away.
Wow.
So it was his grandchildren, their lives will now be changed because of the steps that their grandfather took for them, because he cared about their future. He wanted them to be ahead of where he and his son was. Now, of course, we expected my brother to live a long time, but that's what life insurance is. We don't know the day nor the time, but it's best to be prepared with it. You don't want to leave your loved ones in debt. You don't want to leave your loved ones worrying about, did you have life insurance? You don't want them to worry about who's the beneficiary on it. Can we pay for a funeral? You want them to at least be the same or better than if you were actually here. Life insurance is income replacement. And so if you are the breadwinner, or if your money is used to contribute to the household, it is definitely worth a conversation to see, hey, do we have enough coverage? Is my family covered? So it's a morbid topic, but I absolutely love to talk about it, because in my case, I know not having it made an impact on my son's life. And I know with my brother in particular, I can see and I know the impact that it will have on his grandchildren. So, 2 generations. So it's just so important when it comes to life insurance, making sure that the beneficiaries are updated. That is a big thing. If you recently had children, if you recently got married, divorced, lost your job, got a new job, perfect time to take a look at your beneficiaries and make sure that they are updated. Make sure that the person that you chose is not deceased already. So we just want to make sure that not only on the life insurance, but on your retirement plans, on your bank accounts, anything that can have a beneficiary on it, make sure that you take a look at it sooner than later and make sure that it's updated to who you want. And so yeah, I can speak all day about life insurance, but that's really the crux of it, to make sure that, one, you have it and that you have enough to do what it is that you want to do. Even single people,
Yeah.
we need life insurance.
Yes. How many times do you see on Facebook on what is it called?
Oh, GoFundMe.
GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are tragedies that happen that, even if you had a life insurance policy, if you didn't have enough or whatever, things, clearly can happen. But there's not a day that goes by that there isn't some tragedy. I know just
Yes.
within, my own family, on top of, the impact and the loss, and then COVID-19 and that whole scene, as it continues,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it more and more important to have those difficult conversations. We have to have those tough conversations, and
Mm-hmm.
think about it, set it up. I'm sure there are tools and resources that people can access to help them have those conversations.
Yes.
It's Google. I mean, Google. Okay, I mean, let's talk about Erica, okay, as well. But it's the fourth quarter of the year, right?
Yes.
And the past couple of years, kind of lose track now, have been just traumatic. Just traumatic. I just had a friend lose another friend of hers at the same age, 55 years
Wow.
old, in no health conditions, athletic, all of those things. It was COVID-19,
Mm-hmm.
and complications with that regard. But now more than ever, Okay, now more than ever, it's so important. So I've put up Erica's, contact information, and it doesn't hurt to talk about it.
Mhm.
It doesn't help to talk about it or get some more tools about, what your specific, situation might be. But life insurance is essential. So, what do you say to someone that says, I can't afford it?
Great question. I say you can't afford not to have it, especially if you're someone who say I can't afford it. Just imagine what your family would be like if you were not there.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people you don't want to be without life insurance, even if it's a minimal amount. For my brother, it was $15,000 just for the funeral home. So that's a minimum. You want to make sure that you have what you can afford. And I know, we don't like to take away from the things that we like to do. But if it's, $15, $20 where we're not going to the store, stopping in the Wawas in the morning, whatever our vices may be, just think what protection you would afford for your family.
Mm-hmm.
Think about if they had to plan a funeral for you, could they afford it? So the 15, 20, $25 a month, depending, um, that could be a lifesaver for someone.
Yes, yes, yes.
uh, because we don't want our family in debt. We don't want them having to take out a loan to bury us. We don't want them to be wondering, do we have to put, mom in the potter's field? That's real,
That's right.
for those who can't afford it. And the state steps in to pay for it, for the potter's field in a box. So having those heart conversations with our families, with the people that we love, to just figure it out. What do we need to do? Do we need to get a part-time job? Do we need to Uber? What is it? Whatever it is that you need to do it. And
Yes,
yes, it is what I do for a living, but I would rather see somebody covered than not covered.
yes. That really is. And that's another principle that my dad taught us. As a result of that, I'm just thinking back because I was in high school. I was just graduating from high school when my dad passed away.
Mm,
And as a result of his forward thinking, I remember getting checks for the longest time, okay, while I was in college,
mhm.
and wow. So laying that foundation and having those difficult conversations is important. It's time to get things in order. And this is one of those things that needs to be in order. Okay. It's one of those things that needs to be in order. And it could really, you want to do something for your family, for your children. It's a sacrifice that you can make. Okay. And it's just something that really could make a difference in their lives and the lives of your grandchildren, as well. So at least have the conversation. We're about educating people,
Mhm.
right? And this is just so foundational. So I'm going to pivot a little bit from that because when I asked the question, I said, well, what if you can't afford it? And you mentioned a couple of things. So the basics of money management.
Mhm.
Where would you say we could start? So let's say we done messed everything up like 12 times, okay?
Just get back up.
Just get back up. Let's redo. Okay, can you do
That's
it?
right.
Reset.
Mm-hmm.
And what are some ways that we can, like, where's the first place to start?
Mm-hmm.
If you're just done messed up.
It is that mindset, Tanya. It is the mindset.
Mm,
I am a money magnet. Money flows to me easily.
yes.
So, first thing, we got to change our mind when it comes to finances. Sometimes we think about what we can't do because we have a lack of money, the things that we want but can't have because there's a lack of money. First thing we got to do is be grateful for what it is that we have the money to do the things that we want to do. We have money for a roof over our head. We have money for food on the table. And these things may seem so cliche, but when you change your mindset in regards to what you have and being grateful, your money, your financial situation will change. Affirmations change. Your mindset change. You change when it comes to money. You do things differently. Once we change our mindset in regards to money, we have a different renewed hope that things can change, things can get better for our lives, for our children. If we want a new home, start thinking about the new home. And I tell people, no matter what it is that you want, let's say today I don't have, I'm not in a financial situation where I can move into a new house. First thing that you can start doing is thinking about the home that you want to live in, the neighborhood you want to live in, the school district. If you have young children that you want to be in, start visualizing yourself there, and then start taking the steps to see what does it take to get there. Because sometimes we just assume, oh, I can't move into that neighborhood. Oh, it just costs too much. But until you actually start taking the steps to reach your goals, we'll never know. But once you change your mindset, start visualizing, start actually taking the steps. Okay, where's this neighborhood? Let me look up in this neighborhood. Where are some houses for sale? What are the houses going for? Okay, what is the next step for that? Well, next step would be for me to speak to a realtor. Okay, well, let me speak to a realtor. Realtors, they say speak to them at least a year out in advance. Because sometimes it just takes that long if there's credit issues or if there's trouble finding a house in your price range, but at least a year out. Don't be afraid to talk to a realtor. It doesn't cost anything, but you're working on your dream. So speak to that realtor. Hey, what is it that I need to do in order to get started? I want a house in this area. They'll let you know. Okay, let me see your credit report. Well, you need to do XYZ first. So now you start, not the credit report, but you start working towards improving your credit score. That changes your mindset. That changes you mentally. In essence, ultimately, it changes you physically because now you feel better about yourself because you're taking steps to reach the goal that you want. And even though it wasn't possible 3 months ago, it's possible 3 months today now. And you've got a whole new philosophy on your money because now you started your prosperity planning, which is your budget. You know what you need in order to move into your new house. You know, the realtor will maybe talk to you about utilities and all that good stuff that comes with home ownership. And you start working towards your home because your hope has been restored, it has been renewed. And now you can say, I'm going to be in my house in a year. Like, I would have never thought I was in my house. But once you started with your mindset, visualizing yourself there. And then, as you talked about earlier, setting the intentions and then taking the actions.
Yes.
And so that's the manifestation. It starts, and you start to think, this can really happen for me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
you always have to take those steps. Even if you think that you can't do it, start taking the steps and seeing yourself as if it were.
Yes, absolutely. And this is, such a difficult time in our economy.
Mhm.
And I'm not even going to say what I was thinking. It's just, I'll put it this way: there are many people who didn't have the experience that I would say, people of color have had, and and they have lost their minds because they're not accustomed to certain, certain things,
Mm-hmm.
because even privilege uh, can't afford you, some things right away. And I've seen that. I mean, I've seen that. I've experienced it, and actually, what that has caused, and you see that in our country,
Mm-hmm.
is some additional backlash. Okay, and disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
For so many, undeserving of it, and it really has sparked an outcry. Um, because people think that someone is taking something away from them.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that, but nobody's coming to save us. I just have to say that every week. And this is up to us. And even if it's
Yes.
just planning for, maybe it's not even a house. I can tell you, I know 15 people right now that are in a situation because of COVID related issues or complications with life, jobs, and so forth, that are you know losing their home or losing their apartment. All of the coverage has been lifted pretty much, for any renters in difficult situations. There are people that I know that are in that situation, but I really do believe that this mindset can
Mm-hmm.
also help them. Would you
Yes.
agree?
Absolutely. And it has been a difficult time for some people, but not for others. Others have prospered. And I love what you said when you said it is up to us, right? Nobody's going to come and save us. And so we have to take the steps in order to ensure our future. And so whether that is taking a look at where you are financially, what is your net worth? What are some of the things that you can do? Yes, it's a difficult time. Uh, reduced hours, loss of jobs, but there are jobs out there. They may not be jobs that we want,
Mm-hmm.
but if we want to stay in our homes, if we want to stay in our apartments, sometimes we have to do things that we don't necessarily want to do, but it's just something that we need to do to get by for a period of time. It's not forever.
Right.
So, what I would say to someone who's going through a situation like that where they may be losing their home or losing their apartments is look for the resources. Um, I post resources on my personal Facebook page. There's money out there, there's protections out there, there's things that we can do. But what I have found in the past is that we do nothing sometimes. And when we do nothing, that's when things fall apart. We don't make the phone calls. We say, well, they know we're in COVID, and that's why I'm not paying my bills. They don't know that you've been affected by COVID unless you call them and tell them. Not everybody was impacted by COVID. So we have to pick up the phone. We have to make the phone calls. We can't shy away and just thinking that it's COVID, so they know. If you call the mortgage company, if you call the credit card company, if you call your banks, whomever you have loans through, and you talk to them, they'll give you resources. They'll tell you what's available in regard to what you can do now. You can still give them a call. Hey, they don't want to have to own your home. Banks don't want to own your home. They want you to stay in your home. They want you to pay for your home. They want you to be in that position. But if you don't have the conversation with them, they have no choice but to proceed as if, they have to take the home back. So I
Right.
would say more than anything, if you're going through something financially, speak with a financial professional, speak with whoever your creditors are, and see what else is available for you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I did notice that you did have a renter's resource on your page,
Mhm.
and I actually shared that with someone.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Yes, I did. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know where to go. And I actually had it up because I was, kind of visioning our meeting today, and I
Mhm.
went on like, let me just, and boom, there it was. And the same
Mhm.
for those of us that are in business as well.
Yes.
There are goo gobs of programs that are out there, and you've got to take the first step. You've
Mhm.
got to take
Yes.
the first step. And once you take that first step, okay, then everything, it's like you begin to, get into some forward motion, the light, the hope, and so forth, just
Yes.
kind of comes to fruition. You talked about start prosperity, your prosperity planning. I loved it, which you called the budget.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about the budget, because what it is and what it isn't.
Mhm.
Some people are like, whatever I have in my wallet.
And I'm okay with that sometimes. So I know a lot of people don't like the word budget because they think that it's so restrictive and it takes away, everything that they can do with the money that they've earned. And for me, it is the exact opposite. I love a budget. So I know because people don't like the word budget, I change it to prosperity plan. Because if you work it right, it is a prosperity plan. It is not restrictive. I find it very freeing myself because it tells me how much money I have in order to do the things that I want to do. It is so imperative to any household to have a budget. You have to know what's coming in and what's going out if you want to get ahead, if you want prosperity, if you want wealth. You have to know what's coming in and going out. If it's a surplus, you've got money left over at the end of the month. What are you doing with that money in order to build your wealth?
Hmm.
And I tell people, if you have that money left over, what are some of the things? Do you have an emergency fund? Are you maxing out your retirement plans through your workplace or through personal? Are you giving the way that you want to give? You can even
Hmm.
have blow money, right? So I give an envelope. I use an envelope system for blow money. And what blow money is that you can spend that money on whatever you want. You don't have to check in with anybody. You don't have to look at any other bills that are due. It's just, I've worked. One thing that my mother always taught us, she said, you work all week long. You deserve to buy yourself something. Now, it's not crazy stuff. You don't go out there and buy cars and, vacations because you work. But I would go to the store, buy myself a little pair of earrings. I like body wash, things of that nature, things that I like to look good and to smell good. And if I work 40 hours, I should be able to purchase those things for myself versus everything going out to pay bills.
Hmm.
And so that's in my toiletries envelope. But then my blow money is, oh, you know what? I saw these pair of shoes that I liked, and it comes out of my blow money. So it's just things like that. So all of those things are considered in the prosperity plan. For some people, they're like, I love restaurants. I'm like, great, put it in the budget. It doesn't matter if you spend $1,000 a month on restaurants if you can afford it, if it's in the budget and it makes sense.
Right.
So I am all about prosperity planning. I'm all about using a budget. I'm all about knowing your net worth. I'm just all about knowing what the bottom line is when it comes to your money and how you can prosper going forward.
Hmm.
For your children, for your children's children, if you don't have children, maybe some nieces and nephews. If no nieces and nephews, maybe there's a charity. So, there's something or someone that you may want to help out. And um, having that prosperity plan allows you to be a better giver, whether it's to yourself or to someone else.
Yes, yes. And so for for folks on a really tight budget, and I'm just going to share from my own experience. I was impacted by COVID because I had a little job
Mhm.
and a contract. I lost business.
Yes.
and just kind of had to pick back up. And I had a hard time like doing a prosperity plan. I love that. I'm changing my language immediately. Never again will I say the B word.
Love it. Yes.
But that's important to set that aside. But there are other ways that you can generate income. I want to share with folks that there really are legitimate online work from home jobs. But
Yes.
again, you have to take some action.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you're not able to, if you're not good with doing your resume, there are resources. I mean, Google has, I can't think of anything Google doesn't have. Okay.
Yes.
You have to be careful. You have to be careful and temper that. But there's a way to update your resume. Hopefully you've had a good enough relationship with people or someone you could use as a reference. That's something to think about before you leave your 9 to 5. You might want to be nice to somebody.
The power of networking. Yes.
The power of networking, yes. So, what are some other ways that folks can find that other type of income, that they might need?
Okay. It's one, what do you love to do? Can you monetize it?
Hmm.
If people are telling you that you're great at something, take a look into it and maybe start charging people for it. One thing I say before getting a part-time job or anything like that is your prosperity plan. How much money, additional money, do you need in order to take care of the things that you want to? That's
Hmm.
the starting point, because if I need an extra $500 a month and I'm out here working and hustling for $300, I'm still going to come up short. So it makes no
Mm.
sense. So know your numbers before you start spending time outside of your home, away from yourself, away from your family, away from your friends. Know what it is that you need. So things that you love to do. There's Uber, there's DoorDash, there's I forget the other one, but those are ways. And now you can even walk. You don't even need a car for those things. So it's very, they're making it very accessible for people to earn additional income. And I
Correct.
would say, even if you got to clean toilets, do what it is that you need to do for a period of time while you reach your goals. Um, it may be, we may think that it's less than us, but you have to think of, what is your goal worth to you?
Mm.
Is it worth you doing a job 2-3 days a week and being done with it, and knowing that you're working towards your goal, knowing that in 1 year you don't have to do that thing anymore? um, there's a lot of work from home companies, like Tanya said, do your research on it. I'm always looking for people who want to help people when it comes to their money. So things like that, things where maybe you don't have to drive to get to that place, so you can save money on gas, you can save money on lunch by not having that part-time job where you have to go out. But
Hmm.
there are many ways for you to earn money legitimately.
Legitimately.
Yes,
Let's
legitimately.
highlight that.
Yeah, one of the things that you mentioned, Tanya, was, businesses being impacted. I used to be a bookkeeper many, many moons ago. One thing that I noted is, during this COVID time period, the pandemic, there was a lot of money that was lost for legitimate businesses, because we didn't have our books in order. If you are in business, you are a bona fide business, and this is what you do for your income, or even if it is a side hustle. Even Uber drivers were eligible for the PPP loans. A lot of people didn't know that.
Hmm.
So have your books in order if you're in business,
Hmm.
because you lost out on a lot of money when you could have had that money to expand your business. Some people
Yeah.
use that money to expand their business. So it's imperative. I can't speak highly enough of it. If you are in business, make sure your books are in order.
Yes.
And I would say, don't try to do it yourself. It's like, even if you are a bookkeeper, picture yourself as a hairdresser. Hairdresser don't usually do their own hair. So, I would say that is a worthwhile investment to seek a bookkeeper or even a VA, somebody who is able to keep your books in order so that come tax time, you're getting all of the deductions that you can get. You get all the benefits of being a home uh, um, self-employed or a home-based business. So just when you're in business, make sure you keep your books good.
Exactly, especially in business. And there's so many apps now that you can kind of,
Mhm.
that I've begun to actually the beginning of this year to really track everything,
Yes.
every single thing, and it's really simple because you get the reminders and they're free.
Yes.
Okay, so those apps are free if you need to drive for your job. You can track your mileage.
Yeah, I
It's
believe it's Mile
fascinating.
IQ. Is
Mile IQ.
yeah.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And the other one I use is I think it's Expensify.
Mhm.
Is another one that I've used, and you try it, and it's like with anything. The more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Yes, like
And there's
second nature. It
there's a
saves you
benefit
money
to it.
literally at tax time.
Yes, it does. It does. Because otherwise, it's a nightmare. I've
Yes.
lived through several nightmares, and that's one of the reasons why I invited you. I'm living kind of the experience, and when you know better, you do better. And
Yes.
sometimes you need to keep knowing better and doing better more than once.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not you fall down and that's the end of the world. It's okay, what did I learn from that lesson? And let me change it.
Exactly. That's so possible. So
Mhm.
we have our, we have our prosperity plan, and we're going through it. What other kinds of things that we need to look at in order to really ensure the best outcome for ourselves financially?
Yes. So we talked about making sure that you're protected
Hmm.
through the life insurance. We talked about having that prosperity plan, knowing your numbers. Let's talk about an emergency fund.
Mm.
You want to make sure that you have an emergency fund. Ideally, it's 3 to 6 months of expenses, not income expenses, and that you take that from your prosperity plan. What are all my expenses? And shoot for 3 to 6 months of that. And people say, well, Ericka, 3 to 6 months is over $10,000. That's crazy. I can't save $10,000. Okay, so let's break it down. So break it down to one day. How much do you earn in one day? Start saving with that. And then you just keep building on, literally one day at a time. And so and I say that to break it down to one day because I don't want somebody to be discouraged because I can't save, $500 a month, but you can save maybe $30 in a month. And
Hmm.
I tell you, it doesn't take, the goal initially is $1,000. And so $1,000 is typically what you need liquid in your bank account for those emergencies. Oh, I got a flat tire, I need my tire fixed, or something wrong with the toilet, I got to call a plumber. Those are usually those expenses that are less than
Hmm.
$1,000, where you can just go to your account versus putting it on a credit card. And so just start with one day, break it down. How much do you earn in one day? Open up a separate bank account and then start making those contributions and just build it up literally day by day. So having that emergency fund. Second is credit card, car notes, student loans, mortgages, all of those debts. You want to start working on those. If you have those debt, it takes money out of the household. So you want to make sure that we have a plan to get rid of debt, your debt elimination program. If you don't have one of those, I can certainly assist with that. There's no charge for that. But have that plan to make sure that you're getting out of debt in a timely manner and you're not paying thousands of dollars over the years in interest. So I don't want to be paying for shoes 10 years from now from putting it on my credit card today. But sometimes that's how it happens because we have no plan to get out of debt. We're just making the minimum payments. So that was the other one. And then retirement planning. Planning for the future. What are your goals for the future? Start thinking about that. Do you have something through your workplace? Can you invest into your retirement plan through your workplace? Is there a match? Make sure that you are getting up to the match. That is free money. If you exceed that, then start your own individual retirement accounts. And so those are really the things going forward that we should concentrate on, making sure our family is protected, making sure that we have a prosperity plan, making sure that we know our numbers, our net worth, making sure that we have an emergency fund, that we have a debt elimination program, that we have a plan in place for retirement and beyond. What are some of the things that you want to do in retirement? Travel. You got to prepare for that. So those are really the gist of and then finally, making sure that you have a will, making sure that you have a power of attorney for your finances as well as your health care. And so those are the very important documents to have when it comes to that.
Preparation is so essential. And hey, Miss B, she talked about free money. Yes. We're visualizing. Right. We are visualizing here, Queen B. But we talk so much about stress, over the past, month. And when we were doing our Matters of the Heart celebration, and just having a plan, beginning to at least begin a prosperity plan, right?
Yes.
Is something, and I have I'm going to say in the past 6 months, have had to revisit, I'm never saying that word again, my prosperity plan. I'm so glad you're here. And it's made a huge difference.
Awesome.
A huge difference. Because it just opens you up, the stress level is lower. That can be a very, very stressful situation. And talk to a professional, people.
Yes.
Ms. Ericka just said no charge for a debt elimination plan. Okay. You definitely want to make sure that you take advantage of that. I'm going to put I need a driver here to, there we go. Put that back up there again. Thank you so very much, Ericka. Thank you to my audience. Remember, you can go to bit.ly/discover how money works. This is really a plan to support making your dreams come true. It takes work. It takes work, but it absolutely can happen. Any closing words for us, Ericka?
Yes. So again, thank you so much, Tanya, for allowing me to be a part of this evening. I had a ball. Thank you, yes, to the audience as well. And I would just say, get started. Whatever you are manifesting, get started on it. Start taking those intentional actions. Money flows to me easily. I am a money magnet. It all starts with the mindset. And just for the ladies this weekend, October 2nd, and I'll put the information in the comment section. We are having a Women and Money webinar. So if you want to delve a little bit deeper into women and money, and specifically women, and when it comes to money, feel free. It is a complimentary webinar this Saturday at 9:30. I'll be more than happy to see you there.
Okay, and where can they get that information, Ericka?
I will put the link in the comments section.
Okay, very good. Link in the comments. And Saturday at 9:30 a.m.?
Yes, and it's about 1 hour.
Okay, online.
Yes.
I can come in my jams.
You can, and no one will see you.
Perfect. I will have my ears on. Ericka, always a pleasure. Thank you so very much to my audience. You got it straight from the money coach. Okay, doesn't get any better than that. Thank you again for joining me on Talks with Tanya. I will be back in the middle of October. I'm working on I'm really excited about our next group of guests. We're going to be talking about non-traditional businesses for women. Okay. And it's all about prosperity and all about where the money is. We need to begin to always to think outside of the box. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Y'all be blessed and stay inspired. Take care now. Bye bye. Thank you, Ericka.
Bye. Thank you.